All right. Hi there, everyone. My name is Dustin Fowler. I'm the program administrator for the Aiken iNNOVATE program. And what I want to do today is talk about the test scheduler. We've got some students that have been coming in throughout the semester, and this is always something that we talk about during our learning coach training. But I also recognize that there may be some parents that are wondering why grades are low, or why can't I do the helper? I wasn't aware that my student had to take tests or whatever it was that the issue is. And so what I'm trying to do is just provide a one-stop solution to all those potential issues. Now, before I get started in this, I did want to say that all of our teachers are knowledgeable about this and talk about this, and have shown this multiple times. There we go. Everyone should see this now. Has shown this multiple times during their testing sessions. And so this is not anything revolutionary or new, or it's not like we're in the third quarter. This is the first time that I've started I think I am recording, so I just want to check that. This isn't like we're just showing this information. This is pretty common standard stuff for our program. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows leaving this how to support their student with signing up for tests. It is part of what we're looking for families to do as part of our 50-50 partnership. We can't make a student sign up. So what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about why we have it this way, and then I'm going to show you at the end how to sign up for tests. So I believe that the Q&A is open. If y'all have questions, I'll figure out how to do that. If not, y'all can always reach us at ai@acpsd.net, and this recording will be put on our YouTube channel. So I'm going to go ahead and begin. Sorry, I skipped one there. All right, so what we're trying to do here is I want to make sure everyone is empowered for how to support the test scheduler. Our assessments make up 50% of the grade, so it's too big for students not to do them. And usually, if you're looking at and tracking the Power School app like we ask you to, if a student is scoring a 20 or a 30 or some really abysmal grade like that, it's probably because they're not taking tests. So before a student signs up for a test, one of the things we ask them to do is have a physical notebook on their desk area, their workspace, with their email, their student number, the parent email, and the teacher emails as well. And I'm going to show you real quick how to find the teacher emails. I've got it listed here that you can Google Aiken iNNOVATE staff and it will come right up, or go under About Us on our website. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a second. But these items need to be written down in a physical notebook, because every time a student takes a test, they need to have this information as part of scheduling. The reason for this is because we want the student, the parent, and the teacher to all get an email confirmation once that form is completed. So everybody should know when the student signed up for the test and when that test is going to happen. And then there's also that the student needs to know what test they're taking, because when they come into the testing session, they're going to tell the proctor, hey, I'm taking the Unit 1 test, or whatever it is, in whichever class they're in. The way it works is first, the student schedules the test. All right. Then I just mentioned that confirmation goes out, and the student, parent, and teacher all will receive that confirmation. We also have a back-end log that shows when students signed up, just so we can make sure that we can test every student that signs up. And then on the day of the test, what's going to happen is the student is going to receive an invite through Teams, and it's going to be called like test session or something like that. And what the student will do is, at whatever chosen time on the test scheduler, they're going to enter that test session and tell the proctor which tests they're taking. The proctor will give them the password, they'll put it in, and then they'll take the test in their course. And when you're done, the student is going to leave the session. It's that simple. I'm going to show you in a second what it looks like to get that far. But if the student doesn't know the test, then it's going to be different. The proctor won't be able to give the password. So they need to know what they're taking. And then the student also needs to be prepared to begin on time. So be ready with all this information so that we can get started and the student can get in and out. During the test, now this right here is part of our onboarding. So we've got these rules in the orientation. We've also got it in our learning coach training. And I believe that when students sign up for tests, they see this as well. So parents, help us out with this. We do want it to be a true testing setup. So we are proctoring our tests like a student would take tests in school. When they come into the classroom, their desks are clear. They don't have their phones out or any of that stuff. They take the test, they turn it in, and then they're done. Same kind of thing. We have to be able to protect testing integrity in our program. It's really important. So we're asking that students don't have any kind of browsers or tabs or other programs open on their computer while they're taking tests that are not needed for the test. There should be no additional notes or resources or answers or anything like that at the student's workstation. That should be clear. No additional devices. The one exception of that is if a student is using the phone as the camera and we can see the student's face in the phone camera, that frees up resources on the laptop. So we usually allow that. Plus, it would be really obvious if a student was tapping the phone, we could see that they were accessing it, and it would be a testing violation. So we're okay with using the phone as the team's camera for students, but just no use. We shouldn't be able to see students using it for answers. We must have cameras on. We must see your face like this. Check it out. If we see this thing right here going on, then we're going to ask you to put your face in place, right? So we cannot have that because we can't see your face. If the student either doesn't comply with that or we can't get the camera to work, then we're just going to ask you to reschedule the test and take it later. That's okay. That happens. But reschedule it and take it later. We also don't need any other people in the room. No siblings, no distractions like that. And then students do need to take the test in one sitting. If you need a lot of time, schedule an early morning test and go until lunch, or schedule a early afternoon test and go until a 3:45. I just mentioned some of these. If the camera doesn't work or if we can't see your screen, sometimes technology is going to screw up, and the proctor is going to ask that the student reschedule the test and those issues get rectified. We cannot give a test if we can't see your face and your screen. If the internet went out or something happened, reschedule the test. We don't penalize late tests. We do put zeros in until they get done. Now, the other side of that, the one caveat is we're getting real close right now to the end of quarter 3. We will not accept a test after the end of the quarter. So that's the reason why right now our teachers make a big push. That's any quarter. It's not just quarter 3, but we won't accept tests after the end of the quarter. And quarter 4 starts, that ship is done sailing. So other than that, though, we are not penalizing tests for late work because that's actually more work on us to do that. And then we also reserve the right to have students come in and retest in person if there's questions of authenticity around how the student did the test. Now, tests weigh a lot. The reason why we're making this big push is because mathematically, students can't pass Aiken iNNOVATE courses if they're not taking tests. It is that important. So the inverse of that is, as I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, if a student is sitting on a 20 or a 30 average, it's usually almost always because they're not taking tests. So taking those tests can get students into the passing range. So parents, don't be fooled and don't be surprised by grades. Please make sure that you're looking at the PowerSchool app. You have it on your phone. You should be getting notifications weekly when my teachers are updating grades, and know what that student's grade is. Because if you're sitting on a failing grade right now, it's the time to make sure the students get it done. And we're asking for student support and for family support on that. Sit down side by side with your student and make sure that they are signing up for these tests. How do we access the scheduler? I'm about to show you. There's 2 main ways. One is through the Innovator's Edge newsletter. So if you are part of this program, doesn't matter if you started Monday or if you've been with us since the beginning of time, you should be getting this newsletter every Sunday afternoon. Is usually when we send it, about 6:15. The other place you can access the test scheduler is in any Schoology class. So any student should have teachers there using Schoology, and we keep the test scheduler in the test overview folder, or the course overview and information folder. So we do look for a partnership, as we've discussed before. One of the partnership pieces of participating in Aiken iNNOVATE is with making sure that students can do this and have the technical know-how and the ability to navigate through email or through courses to sign up. Now, my teachers show students how to do this during class. So students can ask for support. Sometimes students may need more direct support side by side. So learning coach, this is where you come in. Help your student. If they're not able to sign up for tests, let's figure out what's going on and help them get signed up. We want to make sure, and that's the point of this whole thing, is that both the student and the parent knows how to do this. So I'm going to actually go out of my presentation real quick, and I'm going to look at the Innovator's Edge newsletter. Now, again, to recap, every one of you are getting this by email. And so if I click on this, this is what it looks like. Okay, so this is the newest edition 14 that just came out on Sunday. And one of the things we did a little bit differently this time is we actually added some frequently used links to the very top. And obviously the test scheduler is one of those. So it's right here at the very top of the newsletter now. Before that, and also right now, if you look down here under the dates to remember, there is the Aiken iNNOVATE tests, and we've got the link to it there as well. So you can get to it two ways in the newsletter currently. And if I wanted to go in through course overview and information, I'm just going to go to any Schoology course. I'm going to click on where it says course overview and information, and that's going to pull up this folder is in every course. You will see the test scheduler right there. Okay, so there's, again, multiple ways to do this. I'm going to just click on it right here from the newsletter, and it's going to open up the scheduler right here. So this is what it looks like. The student types in their name, their student ID, and then their email. Now, every student should probably have this memorized at this point. Their student email is used to log into their computer, to log into ClassLink, to log into Teams. So every student probably has already memorized this. But just in case, let's have them write it down, because spelling matters. We have a lot of times where students will misspell. They'll put like the A and the S and the D or whatever it is in the email mixed up backwards or whatnot. And it causes there to be issues where they won't get invited to the testing session. So they really need to make sure they're spelling their email right. And maybe even have it written in a Word document where the student can just copy and paste all this. It would probably be the way I would do it. Parents, they need your email and the teacher email. Now, where are we going to get teacher emails? Well, if I go to the Aiken iNNOVATE homepage, right, and from the top under About Us, I can hover under Aiken iNNOVATE teachers and staff, and it's going to pull up everyone on our staff. So this right here is a list of every teacher. Their email information is included, and that's the easiest way right there to get that. So parents, y'all can use that to help support. And then the course name, in this case, I do human geography, right? And then which test are you taking? So, to know what that is, the student would go to their course. Let's say that if I'm doing the Unit 1 test, I click on Unit 1, and students should know how to navigate their courses. I go to the test. I'm going to copy and paste that, or probably just type in Unit 1 test, either way. And then I'm going to come down here and put that in. All right, so for test session expectations, at this point, students can opt for an in-person test. This is rare. Most of the time, we're a virtual program, so we have very few that there's a need for this. But if you do want to take a virtual test, please don't just show up. We need you to email ai@acpsd.net so that we can coordinate that with you, okay? So if you want to do that, that is an option that we can make available. But most of you are going to schedule a virtual test. So keep in mind that tests have hard submission dates, okay, or submission times. At 11:10, our proctor goes on lunch. So we cannot hold her lunch over for you to take a test during her lunch. So you have to be done at 11:10. And then also at 3:45, she leaves for the day. I can't pay her overtime for doing a test. So please, students, learning coaches, if your student takes a long time on tests, then the earlier the session, the better it's going to be for everyone. So make sure that we're scheduling early sessions, and we don't have time limits on assessments that I'm aware of. I think every test in our program is untimed, besides what I'm saying right here. Okay, so now test scheduling. So right now it's February the 26th, and the day's over. So we have it set up so that you can't schedule under 24 hours from now. Actually, I guess it's like 18 hours. So the earliest I can schedule is going to be 11:40 on Friday. Right now, I'm not into that. So I'm going to look at next week. So I'm going to scroll down. We have it open up 1 week at a time, right? So I want to look at my calendar. All right. So if I'm a student and I'm trying to take a test, it's really, really important that we don't take tests during our live session times. We don't want to, we don't want to miss class to take a test. We've got usually a lot of time in here in the day. So if I'm looking at, let's say, Tuesday, okay, and I've got a big chunk of time here or a big chunk of time here, those are good times to take tests. So in this case, I'm liking between basically 1:30 and the end of the day, all right, on Tuesday, March the 3rd. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to go to March the 3rd. I'm going to click the 3 here. And I like Tuesday afternoon. And I'm going to say 1:40. Okay. So now, I might even say 1:10 because I believe when I looked, yeah, my test is done. My class is done about that time, about 1:15. So 1:10 is perfect. It doesn't have to be a perfect match, all right? So I'm going to click on 1:10 on this date, and I'm going to submit this, okay? And when I submit, it's going to send an email to all 3 of these immediately. So parents, students, y'all can immediately check your email and get that confirmation. And when you do it, it looks just like this. Okay, so this is, I registered my dog. Luna's going to take a test. All right. And I just used my email for all 3 just for simplicity. But there you go. So I see the course. I see the unit test and the time. So parents, write this down on your agenda or have the student keep track of it at their workstation. And at the day of the test, students should receive a reminder, but they're also going to receive a link to the test session. And that's where I'm going to show the calendar one more time. Today, we had a test session, and I just added this sample student to it. So right here, you can see the test session looks like it goes the whole entire day. It's because it does, right? And so if I signed up for 2:10, I don't want to come in at 9 a.m. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in at the time that I signed up for. So when the little bar here, it hovers over 2:10, I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to go in and join the session. Okay, just like that. And so at that time, I'm going to come in. The proctor's going to ask me why am I taking. I tell her I'm doing Unit 1 test for human geography. She'll give you the password, and then you sign in and take the test. Now, you got to be on the test the whole time, or on the session the whole time you're taking the test. We cannot have a student start the test and then leave. That would be a testing violation. We have to be able to see your face and your screen whenever you're taking a test, which is the reason why we require you to use our devices for that. So that is a program requirement, and we don't approve any variation other than that. So trying to get to it here. Computer's being slow. So we just went through basically the whole process for signing up for tests. I demonstrated what it looks like. This is going to be on YouTube. I hope it helps every parent and every student to be able to see this quick tutorial. I wanted to put this here. Every single teacher, person on our staff understands how to use this test scheduler. They can help during live session if the student asks. So if you're sitting in your human geography course or in your algebra class and you need help with this, say, hey, teacher, can you please help me understand how to schedule this test at the end of our class today? And the teacher will help with that. Or, parents, you can send us an email and we can assist you with helping make sure your student is doing tests. We do need students to do this. And parents, you can go in to PowerSchool and see if your student is missing tests because they're going to be labeled as assessments in the title if the student is missing them. So those are the ones that need to be done this way. Please reach out to your teachers if you need help. But parents, what I need you to do right now is sit side by side with your student. Have them pull up their grades or pull up their grade information on your PowerSchool app and look at it with them and make sure that you know that you've received these confirmations for these tests to be taken, because after next week, we're not going to allow students to take tests during quarter 3 because we're going to be at the deadline. So we have to make sure that we're doing this and then that we're staying on our students the entire time that they're in the program. Again, with the flexibility we provide, we do have more responsibility that families assist with this. And my goal today was to make sure that everyone is 100% prepared to do just that and to help students be successful with us. So that's all I got for you. I appreciate everyone being here. Again, we're going to put this on YouTube. And if you have any questions about this process, just let us know. Thank you all so much. Have a good night.